day after day.
I guess we'll start with your more JubyPhonic self, your Juby persona.
Oh, goodness.
So I know you're very much into not only Vocaloid music to listen to, but like the whole community, the whole scene. So I wanted to know when you first came across Vocaloid music.
So that's kind of a complex one because so when I was in, probably early middle school, my brother used to be kind of like on the cutting edge of like technology, and he would show me, funny videos, and he was like, look at this one, it's a girl with a leak, with the Levin polka, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cute. But the thing is, like, he watches funny videos, that's it. I went downstairs to my parents' computer and started looking up all of Vocaloid on YouTube, which there wasn't any back then. There was like Miku doing Phantom of the Opera, and I was still like, oh my god, this is it. And there were no videos, there were just like static pictures, and it was like, oh my god, this is the future. And then I stopped listening to it for like 2 years because, there weren't a lot of people using it, there weren't a lot of songs, and I was like, oh, okay, and I'd forgotten about it until my sister, who was in New York, she was like, I just found this song, someone posted it, it's so cool, and I was like, what? And it was Meltdown by Kagamine Rin, and holy moly, I was back in it. Like, I spent that entire night going through everything. I was like, oh my god, just be friends, oh my god, this is so deep. And I haven't really quit since.
That's cool though. So then, I know that means you've listened to at least the Vocaloid singers like Kagamine Rin and Gumi and Miku.
And the 5 million, yeah.
But do you also listen to, or did you then progress to utaite, like Rio?
Oh, yeah. Holy moly. Okay, so back then there were like 5. Mm-hmm. There were 5 singers, and it was kind of like, oh, okay, there's some singers, because they have the karaoke and all that. But it wasn't like a thing. It was kind of like, oh, these are some, because they were already singers online, and it was like, oh, cool. And then it just became like this huge, like, there were now like groups, there were different, there was like a wide spectrum of singers after a while, and like it just kind of started mixing in with the community, like sometimes you would be like, oh, I like that song, but I actually like it when it's sung by this person more rather than the Vocaloid, and like it just became a thing. Much like how videos with each song became like, now this is a thing. Every song gets a video. Like, okay, back then it was like, you get maybe a static picture that's kind of nice. Like, it's become, I feel like it, over time, just slowly grows into whatever, the community wants it to be.
One of the things I kind of like about the utaite culture as it is sort of now, or the community, is that aspect of maybe a few different utaite sing this one particular Vocaloid song, and then you can, oh, maybe I'm into Cradness's version of it one day, and then, oh, well, maybe I'm into someone else's the next day, just because it has a different feel to it, which really, you don't really get that from any other genre, I want to say.
Yeah, and I can kind of say why that is because really the initial reason I got into singing some of these songs was the karaoke was free. The off vocals were free. They gave it to you, encouraging you to sing it, and so you could have this wide variety of different people singing this song, and it became really interesting because different people would interpret it differently, and you would be like, oh my god, I like it this way, but this interpretation is even better. And then you even get into like the fan videos where, you have Hitorimbo Envy, having like 6 different videos because the original one just had, you know, the picture, and it's crazy. You get into it like at midnight and you find yourself the next day like, wow, that was wild.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I like it. So who's your, if I can say, favorite utaite singer?
Oh my god.
One?
Okay, I have like, you know, because you have one for each category.
That's
it's
true.
like, you know, I have Kashitaro Ito, who's like super good because like he has that like technical skill, but also like real emotion, and it's like, oh my gosh, if you could be my boyfriend, if I could marry you. But then there's Cadmus, who has this really elasticity to his voice that just makes everything so interesting. You want to hear him sing these different songs because you're like, I don't know what it's gonna sound like. Yeah. But then you have the women, and like that's even harder because then you have Rial, who is like the equivalent of Cadmus, but you know, she also works with Giga a lot and does the lyrics, so you're like, ooh, she really knows what she's doing. And she's like that kind of tomboyish voice, and like, God, I could go on forever, but like those three are my main, I would say. Oh, but
choice. Okay,
I need to mention one other that I'm still like, please make more covers. Do you know Kanzentai Cell? I'm trying to remember. He has like 2 different names, but oh my god, Kanseru. Kanseru, yeah.
I don't really think he's made an appearance on our broadcast yet. Now I need to have him there. Oh my gosh,
if you look into him, okay, he has the sexiest voice in the world. I'm not even kidding. I listened to him by accident, and I was like, oh my god. Like, he finally, I don't think he put out a single lately, but I'm like, every time I find him on like somewhere, like even an album or something, I'm like, please, I need more. But yeah, I'm kind of deep into this.
But that's what makes it fun, I think.
Isn't it though?
You can be that deep into it, and then it's okay still. It's not, you're totally off the wall. Or maybe you are, but it's still fine anyway.
Crazy. I know.
So then, Juby, where does Juby come from? Why Juby?
See, the way you say it is like super cute.
No.
It's so cute. So my name is Juliet, and I am the youngest of 3, 4, whatever. I'm the youngest of 4. I am the 4th. And so they have a lot of nicknames, because being the baby, you know, you get a lot of those. So it was like Boo Boo and like Baby and like all this. And so it just kind of like, you've got Jubu and then you get Juby. And it just kind of, yeah, it divulges into that. And also, like, it was just, I think at that point I would have used my name, but I was just like, I was too awkward, so I was like, you know what, let's just put like kind of a fake name, kind of not, you know, and so it just kind of happened.
A cute nickname. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Cute. I still feel like it doesn't match, and I'm like, okay.
You don't think it matches? Why?
It just, for me, like, I like it, but I feel like, because I'm always like, you know, when I was a kid, I was like, no, I'm not a baby, I'm not a baby. And then you go by your baby name, and you're like, okay, now I'm a baby. So yeah, it kind of gets me, and then it kind of doesn't, because it's like, you know, this is now my online name. So yeah, I've mixed feelings.
I can understand that.
I'm totally a baby.
I don't know if this is me bringing up more of like your past or whatever, but I did see that you used to draw your own comic series called Juby's Word of the Day.
Yeah,
Is that bringing
did.
up something bad?
No, it's just that I don't even know at what point like people made the connection, because I did that comic like basically on Facebook, like, and then I was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna branch out and I'm gonna post it to like, you know, some comic sites, and like, it was like a good way for me to not think about school, because like at that point school was really hard, and I was like, but I want to do art and I want to do fun things, so I did comics, and I kind of that's how I actually started learning about some really basic stuff that I later used in the channel, but that's like really technical, like, oh, you know, you gotta think about search engine optimization, gotta think about, you know, cross-posting. And so, yeah, it was great to do, but then it was like, oh, gotta do one every week. And then you're tired one week and you're like, oh, I don't want to do one. Yeah.
So then how old were you when you were doing that? Middle school, high school?
I think I started it, first year of high school. And it was kind of a joke among my friends at the time. So I would kind of make, you know, comics about my friends. And I think even at one point I was trying to get one of them to like fill in for me, because I was like, I'm so tired, please, I have homework, I don't want to do it. And I was pretty young at that point.
So you don't think there'll ever be a return to Juby's word of the day?
You would be surprised. I have on my whiteboard here that I never look at, like, make a comic, and like, I swear it's like now permanent marker because I can't wipe it off. But yeah, I mean, I think at some point, if I can, you know, better handle my time and organize stuff, I definitely want to try to get back into at least drawing. So yeah.
Okay, that's something to look forward to then. I'm on board for it.
Yay.
One person at least.
You're my number one fan.
Oh!
There you go.
Today's such a good day, man. How did this happen?
I don't know.
Okay, getting back to more your music. I saw that the oldest cover you have on your channel is Matryoshka, which, I'll be honest, it's like, that was, I think, the song, for me anyway, that I'm like, oh, Vocaloid is pretty darn interesting. Because I guess the ones I had always heard were like super cutesy. I'm like, I don't really want to hear this right now. But then I saw that one, I'm like, oh, well, what's this? So I know you have said on your website and whatnot that doing the whole YouTube channel thing was kind of spontaneous, but what made you pick Matryoshka?
Okay, so this, gosh, I could talk about this all day. So at the base of it, I should say that at that point, I had been doing choir and musical theater for almost my entire life up to that point. And honestly, I was sick of it because partially I was rebelling and partially I was like, I hate these people. I hate them all. And like, you know, you're at that point in like high school where, you know, like no one cares and like you're still caring and then you want to not care. And so basically I got out of choir. And, you know, my mother was really railing on me at that point. And so I was like, okay, I gotta look useful. I gotta look like I'm doing things. And so I was like, you know, if I get this mic, you know, maybe things will change. I didn't really have, like, a plan at that point. And I actually, as I mentioned before, I was going to cover an anime song, actually. I think off the album of Cowboy Bebop. I know, I wanted to cover, I can never say the name. It's like Wo Queen non Coin.
Oh, yeah, that one.
And I love that, but then I was like, you know, there's no karaoke for any of this stuff. But then I was like, well, you know, I like Vocaloid, and I know there's karaoke for that, and there's all vocals, and I can get that. So actually, Matryoshka was not my first song. I had a channel before this, and it's like one of those things you do and later you really regret, because I had posted it on my personal YouTube that I had since I was like, since I was 12. And so there's a lot to explain because that username was something I had chosen when I was 12. Like, and I still use that account, but the Usagi-chan 501, I was like, oh my god, that's so embarrassing. And that's why the bunny thing happened, because like that's, and I turned it to pink later because I was like, oh, I had blue, let's just go pink. The opposite of that. And I had uploaded when I moved over to a new channel after realizing how embarrassing that was. I had uploaded the videos backwards. So my first one was our Let It Be, because that was the one I was like really jamming to at the time. I was like, yeah, this is so good. This is like, oh my god, my heart is crying. And I used Joy Dreamer's lyrics, and I was like, you know, by the time I got to Matryoshka, I was like, I can do lyrics. And I think Matryoshka, back to the question, the reason I'd chosen that for the first time that I was like really, you know, getting serious about that was because I had talked to my sister about the video, and I was like, we were coming up with theories as to what this stuff meant, and I was like, you know what, let's try some lyrics. I know English, you know, I know that, and so those were my first like lyrics, and yeah, it was kind of embarrassing because I was like, I didn't really put a lot of effort. Like, I think in the descriptions of a few of them, I was like, I did this in a day. I was like, stop it, stop talking. So yeah, whatever I chose, I was just really like jamming to at the time. I was like one of those people in the comments that, well, I never commented, but you know, that would be like, oh, I think it's this and this and this, you know, because that's my personal interpretation, and like blah blah blah. So yeah, that I don't think there was any real significance at the time. I was just a real like big nerd.
That's perfectly fine too.
God. And I still haven't taken those videos down. God.
On your old channel, then, the Usagi-chan, do you mean those two?
So, yeah, I had done that, but then I moved them to a new channel. I was like, I'm gonna be JubyPhonic, you know, because I have the Juby name from the comics, and I'll rhyme it because I'm witty, and we'll do something that has to do with sound, so phonics. You know, and like, yeah, I deleted it off of my older account, but because some people still know that that's my original one, which I keep all my favorites on, which is like 5,000. Like, I randomly will post like stuff that I don't want people on the main channel to see. Like, I think there's a video of me like recording myself, like video recording myself recording, and yeah, it's like a smaller group of people that I know aren't gonna be like hating on me like instantly, you know. So yeah, I still have that one.
I see.
Some fun times.
I make for good stories.
True.
So then, what's your favorite cover that you've done so far? I know you're picking a baby. I'm sorry.
See, like, it always changes because, like, you know, you rewrite your past. You're like, oh, you know, I loved doing that one, but then you remember, oh my god, the stupid thing crashed and I had to redo everything, and it was like, oh my god. But I think the one I still think, recording-wise and lyric-wise, I really enjoyed Yuukai yesterday. Mostly because, you know, when the video came out, everyone was so excited. It was like, oh my god, there's a new video for the KARATURO project. And, like, it was so well done, and it was so cute, and it was so tsundere, and I was like, I can totally do this. These are lyrics that I can definitely write, because they're so relatable. They're not something that takes place outer space, or it's like some those songs where it's like you can't really quite understand it because it's all really philosophical and God, that word. And, when you get a song that's, like, narration and, like, funny, it's like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, get into that groove. So, when I'd done that song, I was just like, I was on a high. I was like, yeah, this is good, some good stuff. But then I actually had to catch a plane in the early morning, and I stayed up, like, really late, and, like, I was editing it on the plane.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah. Enjoyable times. I think it was the most memorable one.
Oh my god.
Stayed up all night.
That's Juby. I don't know. Maybe it isn't.
It totally is.
Oh
God.
I'm glad I could say that accurately then.
It is. You're doing good.
So now, what cover do you most want to do that you haven't gotten around to just yet?
Oh, God. Like, there are covers that I know I can't do just because of, copyright reasons and all that, which is a pain in the butt. But one that I can do, but I haven't gotten to yet. Like, there are so many. Like, I think just yesterday I was thinking to myself, because I was playing it, there's Cell Phone Persecution Girl by Giga P, and, like, just that song, oh my gosh, I was like, this is it, this is the height of, Vocaloid pop music, because I feel like it's accessible by, like, people who aren't into Vocaloid, but then it's also, like, really accessible by the Vocaloid people. And for some reason, that's, like, a point that I had to make in my mind to kind of justify me wanting to sing a song about, like, dark, pop club stuff. Like, honestly, that must be one of, like, my deep desires, is just to do all the really dark songs. Not like, gosh, not like the ones where it's about children, killing each other, but more like, Facebook, oh gosh, what's it called? There's one about Facebook where, it's all about getting likes and getting that validation, and, like, part of it is in English, and I love everything about it, because it's like, the chorus is help me out, but after, by the end, it's, saying no way out, and it's all in English, and I'm like, bless this, like, that's my secret love. So at some point, I would like to do those songs.
That would be awesome, I'll be honest with you.
I want a Twitter song.
Like, you want a Twitter song?
I want a Twitter and a Tumblr song, and I want it all.
That goes on, like, the social media EP.
Like, I want to complain through songs. Is that so bad?
Plenty of people do that, so I guess not.
Oh, yeah. Gosh.
So you mentioned copyright issues.
Ooh.
And I know that lately there have been a number of YouTubers in general and in the anime community in particular that have had videos flagged, taken down due to copyright claims.
Yeah.
So I imagine this means you've had similar issues.
Okay.
With videos of your covers.
I have, like, a real problem talking about this, because sometimes I will go on for a very long time. So I apologize, because I feel very strongly, obviously, about copyright and all that. Because really the initial purpose and the initial spark for this community was, a lot of these things were Creative Commons license, meaning you can do all this, you just can't make money. You can use it for remixes, you can use it for the covers, you can use it just, make something creative. And, that's that's what I think really got a bunch of people into this, because it's like, I can do anything, you know, the resources are there. And with the copyright and the claims recently, it's become so much harder and so much less accessible. I feel like someone like me, if I were starting my channel today, I would have a few reservations, because, you know, you don't want to get hit by a claim, you don't want to get hit by, you know, these companies or groups that you can't actually talk to at all. So just some explanation, when you get a third-party copyright claim, it means this third party, being a group that may claim like, oh, this composition is ours, which apparently they can do, or, you know, this entire video is ours, but they're gonna let you use it, but what they're going to do is they're gonna put ads on it so that they can make money. And you're like, okay, whatever, as long as I have the video up, you know, whatever. And that's fine, but then you can get these claims that'll really take you off, by groups that a lot of times won't be correct. And they will take down the video. You don't always get a strike. It just depends on how angry they are that day. I don't know. And, you know, for me, it'll be like blocked in Germany a lot of times, or it'll say blocked worldwide, meaning basically you just can't, no one can see the video. And those are the worst, I would say, because at that point, you know, already with the third-party claims, you're not going to make any money. You're not going to do anything with that. But with these, you can't really go to that group. You can't really email that group and be like, hey, this is wrong. So what do? You fight the claim. And people say, you know, all different things. They're like, no, don't fight the claims, you know, blah, blah, blah. I personally have fought almost every claim. I will write to them, I will do my research, I will do what I can, and, you know, I would say 80% of the time, you know, they'll relent and be like, okay, you can keep the video up. Because, take Honeyworks, for example. Honeyworks is a really popular composer in the community, but because they're now under a label that is, I guess, on YouTube claiming videos, which, you know, just makes you so frustrated, because you know it's under Creative Commons license. You can go and you can, you know, point to it. And I know that Honeyworks themselves, you know, they don't want this to happen, you know, but they don't really know what's going on in the YouTube community, or really do they have the time. But this group will constantly, like, I've even had covers that I've had up for quite a while, like a year, and now they're coming back and be like, oh, well, you can't have that up because it's ours. And so you'll fight the claim and you'll go through the, you know, process and being like, look, this is Creative Commons. But the issue here is not that, you know, there's this mistake made. It's that, you know, it shouldn't be there in the first place. But also, when you post a video, especially when you're in my position, the first day, the first week is what counts. And for the video to be blocked in that amount of time is so damaging. It's so damaging. I've talked with people about this, and I feel like there's kind of this air of, what can we do? You know, we're singers on YouTube, you know, we're not business people. And so constantly, you know, I'll get upset and I'll look online and, you know, write down some ideas I have for the future on how to get, you know, how to make this again more accessible, because that's what the community was built upon. So, I mean, I could go on to YouTube Red and all that, but it's a mess. Mm-hmm. I think hopefully in the future, at least, we'll have some things, you know, figured out, or at least have a better conversation with the Japanese. Because now, you know, you've got a lot more singers and a lot more producers on YouTube, where historically they've just been on Nico. They live on Nico, they breathe there. But now they're like, oh my god, look at this, there's so many people on YouTube who love us, and now they put like big letters, do not repost, do not, and I'm like, okay, I get that, but but yeah, it's all very interesting. But yeah, there's a big issue, there's that whole, where's the fair use hashtag going around, but because Vocaloid is such a specific issue, I feel like there are going to be some, big issues to start with, but, I think, knowing the community as they are, will kind of stick to Creative Commons and all that. So yeah, I'll stop talking there because there's so much.
I get that. Seems like there's so much, especially when you're passionate about the thing that's constantly headbutting.
Oh yeah,
corporate people. It can be.
I mean, if there
challenge and frustrating.
If there was even like a headbutt happening, that would be great. But it's like,
oh, it's like an invisible headbutt.
I know, it's like
your opponent.
It's like this huge wall that it's insurmountable, and no one really wants to deal with it. And so you're like, oh, we'll just ignore it. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, it's okay. I'm in talks with people, seeing if I can do anything. But yeah.
Keep fighting. That's all you can do.
Oh, yeah.
So, aside from your whole Vocaloid stuff and your anime covers as well, you do some original stuff, I know, on your SoundCloud profile. How about, have you ever thought, I guess, of releasing that onto YouTube, or you want to just keep that separate?
So, kind of the original stuff that I've been kind of experimenting with, I've done kind of favors for people because, they're like, hey, we really need a voice on this, we've got a track. And it's really great on SoundCloud because you have a lot of people who are composers. I would say that in the Vocaloid community, there are a few, at least that speak English. But I would say for the most part, there's kind of this fringe of composers that both love EDM, electronic dance music, and also Vocaloid. So that's kind of where I experiment with stuff, because I'm like, they know me, they know the kind of stuff I like, and I'd like to think at some point I could kind of mix the two, but until I think it's like really quality stuff, I don't know.
I gotcha. Any plans maybe for an album in the future?
Oh, I think so. Gosh, sounded like a southern. Yeah. I can't really say anything specifically, again, with, having to go and hunt down rights and try to say, like, what's within our power to do. And, they're slow-moving projects, but I think once we have something that's going to be like, oh, that's so good, let's release it now, then, I'll definitely make a big hubbub about it. I'll be like, buy my stuff! That's my life.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about Miss Hatsune Miku. She seems to be the one that really started this whole thing for you. And many people, really, with Vocaloid
Blame
music.
her, gosh. Honestly, oh god. I mean, what do you want to ask about it, specifically?
Well, to be honest, she's become quite famous to more people than just those into Vocaloid or anime or Japanese culture, what have you. I mean, she ended up performing on the David Letterman, so... Yeah. And of course, she had that fitting with that fashion designer.
I saw that. I was like, what? I sent that to my sister so quickly. I was like, you have to see this. And like, for me, because I I kind of am on that fence of like being so into this that it's disgusting. And then on the fence of being like, you know, a normal person. You kind of have to take both sides, because you're looking at the David Letterman show, you know, you're sitting there recording it, and you're like, oh my god, this is so cool, because Miku's there, and like, look at that. But then the other side of you is like, oh man, I wish they had done this song, or like done that, and I wish they'd pulled that more, and like, you know, so... So it's never like a relaxing, like, oh my gosh, I love this, everything's great. It's always like, I wish I could have been there and like help them see like what is really cool about this, you know? Because gosh, I'm going to my second concert, Vocaloid concert, May 28th in New York, to meet up actually with some other people in the community. I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but
I don't know either.
Yeah, we're gonna. I don't know. But yeah, let's just say that one of them is really stoked about this show because it's gonna be really personal to him. So it's gonna be something, and I really, gosh. Last time I went, it was so crazy seeing the amount of people going to this show, for one, you know, because with Vocaloid, you don't really have conventions specifically for Vocaloid. You don't have, you know, these kind of gatherings. So the concerts have become like the place to go, which kind of sucks because like it's dark in there. So yeah, I'm super stoked, and I kind of want Miku to become, you know, this really, I don't want to say household name, because like, you know, you kind of want it to stay a small niche community, but then the other side of you is like, wow, I really wish we had the resources to do this and that. So I'm kind of leaning more towards like, I would like to share this technology with the world, because I can see how exciting it can be to producers, to composers, and all the like. I'll just tell this really quick story of how my sister was in New York, and she had to go in to record something. And so she borrowed a studio from a friend, and an engineer was there that she hadn't met. And let me just tell you who's this big buff black guy, who, you know, records artists all the time. And, you know, after my sister was done recording, it was for an anime, but that's besides the point. When she was talking with him, he was like, "Oh, so you're into anime?" And she's like, "Yeah, you know, yeah, I know this and that." And for some reason, they got on the topic of Vocaloid, and he'd never heard of this before. This was around the time that Cyber Diva had just put out, you know, some demos. And my sister, you know, really quick calls me. She's like, please send me some, you know, Vocaloid songs that are just really impressive in whatever ways. You know, if it has rap, that's even better. And so I sent her some, like, there were some even real songs in there. And I was like, I don't know what she wants, but okay, I'm just going to send her my stuff because she's never interested. And apparently he was blown away. He was like, this is amazing. You're telling me that they're singing and I can use this program? And he's like, I am downloading Cyber Diva. And it was funny because he asked like, where do these people, you know, meet up? Where do they talk? You know, I want to get into this. And I really wish I could have said that there was a place, but it's kind of like, oh, YouTube, Twitter. So yeah, it's really interesting, and I'd like to see Miku become something that more producers and, you know, music writers could be excited about.
So the big question is, do you have tickets for Miku Expo?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, I bought those. I bought those like half a year ago. I have the t-shirt that I bought. There was a fundraising campaign, and I bought the Omocat t-shirt, and I was like, you know what, a $40 t-shirt, whatever, good t-shirt, you know. So yeah, I am going. It is going to be a heck of a ride. This time, pro tip, if you are short like me, get balcony seats, because I kid you not, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never met such tall people in my life, but like the tall people parade was like at this concert and jumping. There was a lady with an iPad above her head recording the concert, and I was like, really? Really? So yeah, it was a really cool dance concert then. But this year, I hope I can actually see the holograms.
I know that feeling. That's why I usually go to things with my sister. She like pushes me towards the front.
Honestly, the people, like the fans there were aggressive. They were, whoo, baby. I mean, mosh pit much. But yeah, they're excited. God.
You'll be safe up in the balcony. It's all good.
I hope so.
So now, how do you think you've grown as a musician in general, including all of the Vocaloid covers, anime covers, original collaborations? Can you sum it up in any way?
To sum it up, I mean, part of me is like, you're not a musician. To sum it up, though, I feel like there has been a lot of, I don't know, kind of these hurdles that I've had to overcome. And it's not just, you know, music-wise, it's technology-wise and learning about the community and what you can and can't do. And I feel like the way I've grown is probably through, you know, at least in my perseverance, I've grown, you know, because every time that I'm faced with a giant hurdle, you know, I think I've given up like 3 times, at least, like really given up. And I swear to you, a week later, I'm back there and I'm like, you know what? I've got nothing to lose. And so like, I'll do this, you know? And I think there was a point in there where I just kind of disappeared for like 2 or 3 months. After a point where I was just like, I gotta get myself together here, you know? And kind of since then, I feel like now there's this stronger, kind of body armor that I've had to develop, you know? So yeah, I think perseverance-wise and at least, the know-how. Music-wise, I mean, you're always learning something new. Like, you can hit those really high notes if you scream. Good stuff.
A lesson in life with JubyPhonic.
Just scream. It helps. God helps.
Just like that.